This is my 7th period U.S. history class, and their translation of The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere.
Listen up, I'm going to tell you a story about Paul Revere. On April 18, 1775, do you remember that famous day and year? He said to his friend, "If the soldiers march from land or sea, warn the people so they can get ready."
Paul Revere said to hang a sign in the bell tower in the form of a lantern, one if by land and two if by sea, and across the water Paul Revere would be ready to ride and spread the alarm throughout the county. And as he passed through, he awoke the town folk and gave them his warning.
Paul says goodnight, and he rows a boat to the bay. The moon rose over a bay. Paul steered the boat wide. The British's empty ship appeared with every piece in place. The British's ship appeared like a dark figure where the moon was.
His friend watching for the British, then it is all quiet. Then he hears the sound of men and their guns and the sound of marching.
He walked up to the old northern church he wanted.
I'm on the mountain and looking down at the dark cemetery at the bottom of the mountain that is that spooky that no one wants to be there at night.
A man is looking down from the top of the bell tower. He hears the wind. It's an eerie sound. He's dozing off. He sees the British coming on the bay. He looks at the graveyard and knows more people will lie dead there the next day.
Meanwhile, getting ready to ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride on the opposite shore while Paul Revere. Now he patted his horse's side. Now he looked at the landscape far and near, then forcefully stamped the earth and turned and tightened his saddle bind, but mostly he watched with eager search the belfry tower of the Old North Church.
Moving quickly in the street, the moon big and dark. On the ground, rocks making sparks from under the feet of a brave horse. That's it, but still in the dark and the light, the nation's fate was fighting that night.
While he rides away from Boston, his horse's hooves are sparking and look like the village was on fire. As he is riding, he rides by the mystic river and it's very peaceful. He sees trees and bushes by the edge and gets deep in thought. But now all he hears is the horse trotting against the sand.
It was 12 o'clock when he crossed into Revere. He heard the rooster crowing and the dog barking. He feels the damper as he rides as the sun was going down.
He rode his horse into Lexington at 1 a.m. He saw a weathercock swim overhead. He rode past meeting houses that were empty. Later that day, it would be a battlefield.
It was 2 o'clock by the time Paul Revere got to the bridge in Concord. He heard the birds as he was riding his horse, and he felt the morning wind in his face. A Patriot soldier was sleeping. He heard Paul yelling. He woke up, and later that day would be shot by a British soldier.
You know the rest from the books you've read, how the British fired their guns and then ran away, how the Patriots gave them shot for shot behind fences and farmyard walls.
The farmers and patriots were chasing the redcoats and fired at them. They were chasing them through the farmers' fields. They were everywhere, under the trees, at the beginning of the road, and they only stopped to fire and to load.
The next morning after the war at night, when the people realized what happened, they would turn on the light to the hoofbeats of the steed, and that's the message of Paul Revere.